I'm looking at my camera screen right now, and my shirt is cut off at the perfect area right now. This is incredible. Granted, I'm wearing a Monkey D. Luffy shirt, but you can't see that. And it kind of works out because today we're talking about Fantastic, who may be running from the law a bit here because they did a cryptocurrency level pump and dump for a video game, which is unprecedented and unlike anything we've ever seen before, where I think going into the launch of the day before, if you've been paying attention to a lot of the coverage that many YouTubers and outlets have been doing on it leading into its release, you probably expected a disaster. Many people were surprised the game released at all. For me, I was just sitting from the sidelines, arms folded going, okay, let's see how this goes. And naturally, we sat down to, I put this in quotes, review the game. No way this game was getting a fully professional review out of me, okay? Because I showed you in the video just how quickly the experience breaks. Absolutely not worth your time or money. And I hope you didn't spend your money on it because it looks like Fantastic, the developers behind this game, are taking that cash and absolutely running away with it in what is, again, an unprecedented high-profile scam in our industry. It's not just the consumers and it's not just YouTubers hyping it up. They got IGN to do exclusive coverage on this game. Exclusive coverage, might I add, that almost crossed 6 million views. They got NVIDIA to debut RTX 4K gameplay on their channel. They even got an actual trailer shown off in the heart of New York City, Times Square. Again, this is a high-profile, unprecedented level of scamming happening in our industry. If you need any testament to how much money is flowing through this industry, no matter how much you hear about it, that, oh, we're amateur, we're still learning, this type of stuff is now happening in our industry. That's how much money is flowing through, and that's how many people got hoodwinked by Fantastic here. And I admire the people who are looking at this glass half full or having a bit of empathy for the team behind it. But as I show you evidence as we crawl through this entire story from before the launch to afterwards, you're going to see that they're doing exactly what you thought they were doing. They are scamming you. And I appreciate those of you who, we're going to talk about the studio closing down. Yes, really. And I appreciate those of you who look at it and go, oh man, more devs are losing the job. I'm telling you, save your sympathy for a studio that actually deserves it. I hope by the end of this video, you understand that this is nothing short of a complete scam. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here and you're into the latest and, I was about to say greatest in gaming, but this is probably the worst we've seen in a long while. Nonetheless, we're going to be covering it. Please consider subscribing as we're on our way to 400K. Woohoo! Anyway, this game was the most wishlisted game on Steam, the only platform that it released on. This shows how much hype was behind it, because if you take it, remove all the coverage surrounding the game, if you take it at face value of what you had saw before the release of the game, what was just in the NVIDIA trailer, what was just in the IGN coverage, it looked like The Division again. And you had zombies and you had extraction mechanics, and it looked like, hey, this is not too bad, and I could see myself enjoying this. And naturally, people love zombie games, so it led its way to being the most wishlisted game on Steam. They switched to Unreal Engine 5. They announced the delay to the title, and they kept moving things back more and more, and people started to smell trouble surrounding this title. But if you look at it at face value, what was there did not look terrible, but obviously what we got was completely different. It was nothing more than a game that had free assets from Unreal Engine used to build the game world, AI art to fill out pockets of the world, and just like in its trailers, which copied the likes of Red Dead Redemption 2 and Cyberpunk 2077 word for word, bar for bar, they also copied brands from the real world and pumped their game full of them, from Red X to BPS, and there's even a CVS pharmacy in there that's been slightly rebranded. They didn't go to any length to hide how much they were borrowing from the real world, not only artistically, which sometimes we get like tongue-in-cheek twists on that, and that's okay, but like even down to the marketing and the verbiage used to describe their game. It naturally led to a disastrous review process for the game where YouTubers and outlets are destroying it. But also, if you go over to Steam, consumers aren't happy as well. You'll see that currently, as of the time of recording this video, since its release on December 7th, it has over 18,000 reviews and sits at a mostly negative. And yeah, naturally, given the release of it, people thought, okay, how long is Fantastic going to hang with this? And maybe there was a glimmer of hope here. They said a huge update, including server and AI fixes, is coming in a few hours for the day before. Okay, game's busted, don't see much potential in it, but maybe this isn't the scam that we thought it was. They're kind of hanging with it. Oh no. Oh, they are not hanging with it at all. They were just, we'll show you the chess pieces moving around the board after this that they were doing to set up all of this exit strategy. To set up what was effectively an exit strategy. They shut down their studio. Just mere days, the week of the launch of the game, they shut down their studio. And I gotta say, I saw the scam coming. I did not see this part coming at all. Here's what they wrote in their official statement. Today, we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio. Unfortunately, the day before has failed financially, and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. We invested all our efforts, resources, and man hours into the development of the day before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately, we don't have the funding to continue the work. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. There were no pre-orders or crowdfunding campaigns. We worked tirelessly for 5 years, pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into the game. At the moment, the future of the day before and prop night is unknown, but the servers will remain operational. Give it a few days, they're going to be gone. We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately, we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. We're grateful to everyone who supported us during these difficult years. It's been a fantastic journey over the past 8 years. So if you read that in isolation, you're going to go like, Matty, you're kind of a dick, dude. Like, why, why are you kind of looking at that going like, oh man, they really tried, didn't they? Number one, after what happened with the Lord of the Rings Gollum situation, I wouldn't be surprised if AI wrote this whole thing. Second of all, you're going to see, again, the chess pieces moving around the board and know that none of this is genuine, okay? For starters, they started to remove Steam tags on what defined the game because they knew it was misleading. You'll see here that PC Games N showed that they removed open world and survival crafting from the description of the game as a tag, as well as massively multiplayer, scrubbing the idea that it was ever a massive multiplayer game sold to you to begin with. Obviously showing they know it's not the type of game they marketed it as, and they need to be able to get away with it to take your money and shut down. Not only that, but I think the biggest shot here that shows clearly how disingenuous everything was is here's a look at the channel from Fantastic before the release of the day before. You see the main theme, the final trailer, you see all these different things. Survive the apocalypse with speed, a dev vlog, life of Fantastic. This channel no longer has any content. They've scrubbed any bit of existence of this game. The situation only gets more perplexing as it's then reported the day before has been removed from Steam hours after the devs shut down the studio, which is strange because this is a live service product, so to yank this down is definitely a broken promise. But also on top of that, you'd think for, you know, a company that's trying to pay off the debts to their partners, like we read from the message earlier, that the day before may just remain available for sale so that you could recoup some sort of assets there. I don't know. I've never seen a company that's had a game fail so spectacularly that they've not only shut down the studio, but developers who worked on the game or on Twitter have shut down their accounts. This collective ghosting is, again, a bit of a head scratcher, and the Twitter account has been popping off with some interesting answers, because then you'll see here they said, in answer to those who asked for a refund, Mytona and we are currently working with Steam to allow refunds for any player who chooses to request one regardless of game time, meaning you do not have to be within the 2-hour threshold. Fantastic received $0 and will receive nothing from the day before sales. So someone says, unbelievable that you guys hyped this game up so much, and this is the end result. You guys are an absolute disgrace to the video game industry, to which they say, this is our first big experience. Shit happens. It's like, well, fuck me. Yeah, I guess, man, shit happens. That's it. Just shit happened here. You know, just whatever, moving on. This clearly is starting to smell more and more like maybe a failed attempt at a scam, but it gets a little more interesting when people are tracking the Steam tags, and you'll see that Fantastic is leaving behind their old developer name and changing to 8 points. And then they follow this up by saying, and refunds on Steam are available to any customer who chooses to return the day before, regardless of the number of hours or days they have spent playing it. Steam confirmed this. So you know, on one hand, it's a complete scam and maybe a failed attempt at it. But on the other hand, you see this push for like, oh, we made $0 and go ahead, get your money back. Like, go do it. I don't know, man. It's such a weird situation. We've never seen anything like this in video games before. So I am watching here from the peanut gallery and excited to see how this all continues to shape up. To see as things trickle along ahead of its release that it's getting more and more fishy, to now its release where you see they were removing the chess pieces, they were removing tags from Steam, they were deleting content, and then they put out this studio closure note here. All of this rings as disingenuous, and I can't sit here and sympathize for this studio closing down, unfortunately. And I imagine many of you are in the same boat here. If you spent your money on this, I'd recommend trying to figure out if you can get a refund here, because this game is not going to be supported at all, as it's been stated in the studio closure note. I refunded mine, fortunately, like right after I produced my review. I was like, I don't want this in my library. I am never going to touch this game unless they spend years fixing it, and then it looks pretty decent, and then I'll give it a second chance in like 2027 or something along those lines. But as we see here, that day will never come. And wow, this just goes to show that two things need to happen here. Number one, pay very close attention to the marketing material and the conversation surrounding this game, because many people leapt into this thinking what they saw during the IGN and GeForce coverage, like that's what they were going to get. And unfortunately, they got completely scammed. So always do your research before a game releases. Number two, this has been overdue for a while. To me, the day before is just another entry in a long list. We need to kind of, you know, moderate what games are allowed onto market. I'm not saying we have to have people vetting every single game and controlling what content's within it. I'm just advocating for a level of quality control here. I look at what's happened with mobile game stores. I look at what's happened to the PlayStation storefront, where a lot of crummy $1 free platinum trophy games are flooding the market, destroying indie games. I look at something here like the day before, which just should have never seen the light of day. And yet they managed to make it to market, while great games that are from independent developers are getting buried. It's bad for our industry, not just because of the quality that's being put out there, but because now you have one of the worst games of all time and one of the quickest turnarounds to a shutdown of all time at the top wishlisted game at Steam. That should never have occurred here. So at the end of the day, I'm glad we got to know, right? I'm glad we got to know what this scam really was. And I hope the industry collectively learns from this. I hope IGN and NVIDIA do the best they possibly can to vet that their partners are genuine in the stuff that they're about to promote. And at the same time, I hope that we never have one of these cryptocurrency level pump and dumps in the games industry ever again. Although as we continue to grow and as more money continues to circulate around this industry, I'm not holding my breath. Ladies and gentlemen, that's everything on the day before. I'm sure this situation will evolve a little bit more as time goes on. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts down below. Fire away. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.